This is the Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3, getting you ready for today's sports day.
3 of the first 4 games have been at home, so at some point in time you're going to have to venture outside the 806, so that'll start this week.
While having a little fun along the way.
Always good if you can blame it on somebody else, right?
Yeah, sure.
Especially some media guy.
Sure. Right, some media guy.
Catch the show live weekday mornings from 6 to 9 on Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3.
Nice to have you with us this morning on Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3 and Double T 97.3.com. Yes, Mr. McGuire.
I think you owe Joey McGuire a jacket.
I do. I'll make good on that by hook or by crook. I told him basically at the Oklahoma State game, if we got above 500, which we had not done since 2009 until Saturday night, that I would do that. So I'm going to make good. I'm a man of my word.
My favorite part of all of this is Coach McGuire probably doesn't know the jacket that we're talking about.
Oh, heck no. He's probably forgotten completely about this. He's like, what are you talking about? That's what he'll say. What are you talking about? Also, apparently,
I don't know what I would think if somebody came up to me and said, "Here, I got this jacket for you."
Yeah, right. No, it was again my big mouth.
That would be awkward.
Would be awkward. Well, we'll probably figure out something to put it to good use. Would be my guess. We'll figure out something. Eddie and I had forgotten about this. Eddie reminds me that we're now a bowl win away from me being on Twitter. I guess I'd said that too. If we got to 8 wins, yeah. Man, there's a lot of things that are coming to pass here.
I don't know that Twitter's big enough for both of us, Chuck.
Sounds like a better reason for you to get off, Jamie.
Yeah.
I know this might.
You've been looking for one.
Yeah.
This might be the straw that breaks the camel's back.
Yeah. I did hear.
And let's see, Bullwin and Jamie not on Twitter. Where's the downside?
Here's word from the official Chris Need, and he would know with regard to the field goal. He said, if it goes over the top of the post, it's not good. And then he said, it's not reviewable because there is no reference point. So all that makes sense.
Yep.
I'll just say this. Probably if it had happened to us, if that was a tech field goal, we'd probably be like, we'd be figuring out a way for that thing to be good. We'd be maybe huffing and puffing. But I've not seen every angle. I've just seen the one on the...
Or be remembering the missed extra point at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, at the beginning of the game, right.
So I trust Trey Wolf. I do. Mm-hmm. He missed that first kick, and then I was nervous about every kick from the rest of the game.
Yeah. I do want to ask you this question. Were you surprised at the end of regulation when it's 4th and short, given the number of times that we have gone for it on 4th down this year, that with 3 timeouts remaining, that they did not go for it on 4th down there and try to pick up the first down, because it sure seemed like a more than makeable first down based on how things were going.
Obviously a huge gamble. Obviously a massive risk. You've had struggles with some of those 4th downs in recent games. I think I was a little surprised, not shocked. There was a game on Thanksgiving Day with the Lions and the Bills, same situation. And I think had it been in a regular situation, the Lions would have gone for it. Mm-hmm. Instead, they kicked the field goal to tie the game, and as did the Red Raiders. I just I gotta believe that the struggles that you've had on 4th down in recent weeks had something to do with that there.
Okay.
I think that I was a little surprised, not shocked, and felt like it was the right thing to do.
Okay. I'm going to admit to you, I was shocked, because as soon as they, called the timeout, I'm like, okay, they're going to review this. There was 35 seconds left. Just certainly felt like that, a 42-yard field goal. I mean, we've not had, there have been times we've missed some 42-yard field goals.
Sure.
And and the missed extra point wasn't necessarily in my head. It was more the missed field goals that were in my head. So after the game, Coach McGuire was asked about going for the field goal, kicking the field goal instead of going for it there at the end of regulation.
I've always been one of those guys. I never want to take away a great opportunity to go into overtime. We felt good about the kick. The yard line was at the 33 is where we felt the best about the kick. We were past the 33, and so, I mean, we really felt like that we got the first down, but we marked it short, and they marked it short, and so right there we were going to take it into overtime. We feel good about Wolf going out there and making that kick, and so it was one of the deals of I don't want to take that away from those guys not having the opportunity to win it in overtime.
I did too. I felt like that they got short on the mark there, and like I said, I was shocked they didn't go for it there. Given kind of some of your struggles in field goals with the K-State game, the Oklahoma State game, K-State game specifically, where it felt like a missed field goal was the momentum turner, but.
Yeah, but what about your struggles on picking up fourth down?
No.
You forgot about all those?
No, I just felt like fourth and short was different than 4th and 2 or 4th and 3 or.
Yeah, you have that much confidence in our offensive line?
Well, I did on Saturday. I mean, I felt like they did a good job on Saturday. I felt like that, particularly more in the second half than in the first quarter. I felt like that Shough got protection and was almost able to move it at will at times. Now you could say, well, that's a bad Oklahoma defense, or
no, sure, but that factors into your decision making.
I like I said, I mean, I'm just being honest with you. I was shocked. So you weren't, I was, and there's the reason why you were right at 7-5 and I'm wrong at 5-7.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think in that situation you can't be messing around. And you're right. 42 yarder is not a chip shot. It's not a gimme.
It was not a gimme. Yeah. And that's kind of what I was concerned about. Was that if it had been
maybe it had been a bad wind day, or if you were kicking into the wind, you would have thought differently.
It was blowing just a little bit. I mean, it was blowing a little bit down there. I mean, but you're going into the south end zone. And the other thing is, and he had talked about this. Even before Saturday night, about since mid-season that they had been on the field in the stadium kicking field goals more than they had been at the start of the year, and that they had been throwing a lot of chaos at Wolf and just trying to create situations where, stressful situations for him. And so maybe that's why they felt so good about it, because they had been down in the stadium practicing so much on their field goals since about the midway point of the year.
Yeah. Maybe.
So that gave him a lot more confidence.
Your morning dose of coffee and sports. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3. Catch the show live weekdays from 6 to 9 on Double T 97.3 FM or on the Double T 97.3 mobile app.
Time for this day in sports history. Today is November the 28th, 2022. Here is Jeff McGuire.
1929. Chicago's fullback Ernie Nevers sets an NFL record for the most points scored in a single game, with all 40 points in the Cardinals' 40-6 rout of the Bears. Nevers has an NFL record 6 touchdowns and 4 extra points.
Wow.
So there was an Evers in baseball and a Nevers in football.
Yes. 1938, the 4th Heisman Trophy is awarded to Texas Christian quarterback Davey O'Brien.
Okay.
1957, Milwaukee Braves future Hall of Fame pitcher Warren Spahn wins the Cy Young Award. 1969, Ted Sizemore becomes the 7th Dodger to win the National League Rookie of the Year. They've had an awful lot of those.
I didn't realize that Ted Sizemore played for the Dodgers. I remember him as a Brewer.
I
1972.
don't remember the name at all.
Speaking of the Dodgers, they trade Frank Robinson to the California Angels. 1974, Yankees owner George Steinbrenner is suspended by Major League Baseball for 2 years because of his federal conviction for illegal contributions to political campaigns.
Yeah, he contributed extra to Nixon's campaign.
1978, Reds fire manager Sparky Anderson after 9 years. Just goes to show that even a Hall of Fame manager can be fired. Mm-hmm. And he was a Hall of Fame manager in 2 leagues, basically. 1999, in an All-American final, Pete Sampras beats Andre Agassi 6-1, 7-5, 6-4 to win his 5th and final ATP Tour World Championship tennis title in Hannover, Germany.
That'd be cool to have 2 Americans on top of tennis now.
Not going to lie, this is one of my favorites, but it's not something I make very often because it's not exactly clean. It's National French Toast Day.
Clean mean like healthy clean?
No, I make a mess when I make French toast. When you factor in making the thing you dip the bread in,
right,
and then getting it over to the pan, and the syrup you put on it, it just makes a mess.
Okay, that's fair.
French toast or pancake?
It's French toast in this one, but
I know.
Would I rather have French toast? I'd rather
have
have French toast than pancakes.
Yeah,
I'd rather have a waffle than pancakes.
I'll take French toast over all the above.
I like pancakes.
I think most people would say pancakes.
But I like a good piece of French toast. It's been a long time since I had French toast. It's so funny when you said clean. I thought you were talking about eating clean as opposed to cooking clean. That's funny.
It's a very tasty mess, but a mess.
I thought he was lacing it with something.
Powdered sugar? Happy birthday to Karen Gillian, who's 35, Chase Elliott, 27, John Stewart is 60, Judd Nelson, 63, and Randy Newman is 79. And on this day in the way back machine, in 1520, after sailing through the dangerous straits below South America that now bear his name, Portuguese navigator Ferdinand Magellan enters the Pacific Ocean with 3 ships, becoming the first European explorer to reach the Pacific from the Atlantic. And that is this day in sports history.
All right, 6:50 this morning here on the Morning Drive. We will have for you tonight Monday Night Football, Steelers and the Indianapolis Colts from Indy. That'll be on 100.7 The Score. Right before that, it's the High School Fan Zone as we shift to basketball season tonight with coaches from Coronado and Lubbock High. We've been on that with those 2 schools for a little bit sometime since the football season ended without playoff activity for those 2 schools. It's a Victory Monday for the Cowboys, and we'll have the Dallas Cowboys Hour with Brad Sham tonight from the Star. That'll be at 6 o'clock. Cowboys coming off of their Thanksgiving Day win, so they got an extra day or so to get rested up. Cowboys will have an extra day at the end of the week as they will play these Indianapolis Colts on Sunday Night Football on Sunday night. So the Colts going on the national TV in back-to-back games. I think it's more about their opponent, but maybe not.
That's a weird Sunday night matchup.
It is a weird Sunday night matchup. You almost wonder why that didn't get flexed, but maybe because the Cowboys won on Thanksgiving Day, and Cowboys were always a big draw. You could just
stop that because of the Cowboys.
Yeah, probably just stop that because of the Cowboys. You're probably right about that.
They're going to get the views no matter what. Cowboys could be 0-17, and people are going to watch that game.
Yeah. We'll probably talk a little bit more about this, but I don't want to let too much time get away from us. The top 25 poll out has Michigan at number 2 and USC at number 4. Georgia is still number 1. They beat the Ramblin' Wreck of Georgia Tech over the weekend, and TCU is 3rd after their win over Iowa State, a big statement win. They won like 62-14. Not that TCU was any, or Iowa State was any, just big power that they were facing. I think it's just the score more than anything else of winning 62-14, putting up 62 points on them. So
I definitely didn't overlook them, that's for certain.
Yeah, no question. So
that game was over before it started.
Here's my question for you. If everything kind of holds to form with the postseason, championship games, do you expect these 4 teams to be in the college football playoff? Georgia, Michigan, TCU, and USC?
Well, if everything holds to form and they all win, yes.
Yeah. There was some hand-wringing by the Big Ten commissioner still trying to make a case for Ohio State. It would take an awful lot, wouldn't it, for Ohio State to climb back in, because they have AP has them at 5, then Alabama, then Tennessee. There's a part of me that just is wondering, how does how does the SEC get shut out? Well, they'll have Georgia, but could the SEC get 2 in with Alabama? I guess TCU would have to probably fall to K-State for that to happen, and maybe USC to lose in the Pac-12 championship game. But I wonder if Alabama could leapfrog Ohio State if one of those two schools, or even Michigan, lost in the Big Ten, which you don't expect.
Right. Something like that. That it would take something crazy like that to get those teams in, right? I don't see a lot of things changing there.
Okay. All right, 6:54 this morning here on the Morning Drive. We feel like that we have a friend in you. Hopefully you have a friend in me and Jamie and Jeff this morning here on the Morning Drive.
Getting your sports day started the right way. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, breaking down the biggest games.
If Texas Tech does not win the Big 12 football conference, who are you rooting for to win the conference if Tech does not win it this year?
Well, busting some chops along the way.
I hold back on sending you stuff. I mean, I'm very, very, very judicious.
We spend 3 hours a day, 5 days a week
I know.
together. Why would we need to communicate during the weekends?
Right,
Save it for the show.
We do. We save it for the show.
Tune into the Morning Drive live weekdays from 6 to 9 on Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3.
Great to have you with us this morning on Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3 and Double T 97.3.com. We will have the Cowboy Hour for you tonight. It's a Victory Monday for the Cowboys, even though it was last Thursday when they last won. I'm sure that they'll still make it a Victory Monday. Tomorrow we'll have girls and boys basketball on the air for you as the Friendship Girls and the Friendship Boys travel to Monterey. My understanding is that is becoming a hot ticket to go watch the Monterey's play. So hopefully the Friendship folks can get a ducat to go inside the new box, which is probably, I don't know how many years old it is, but it's got to be approaching 20.
Okay.
The new box.
The new box.
Yeah, the old box, when they called it the box, I mean, it was truly a box. The old gym at Monterey High School. Go ahead.
I don't believe I've been in it yet, so I'll get my first taste of it tomorrow.
Okay. To say the word new box, you would have had to have been in the old box to get a true appreciation of it, because it was the new box is just, I mean, it looks like a high school gym, okay? The old box was, I mean, it was like the size of this studio, and they put a basketball court in it.
Yeesh.
And, I mean, you were like right on top of each other, the fans and the players and the coaches and everything along those lines.
Well, let's hope they save some room for the Friendship folks. They packed the place at Cooper last week.
Okay. Okay. So hopefully you've got your pass. Wednesday night, and I hope he hangs on, because there were some rumors about his demise last week. But Georgetown and Texas Tech will play on Wednesday night at United Supermarkets Arena, and Patrick Ewing is the coach at Georgetown. That's really I mean, aside from, I want to watch, the Tech team play, especially after, their Hawaii experience, in which they lost 2 of 3. I want to see how they bounce back from that. But I do want to see Patrick Ewing live and in person.
Yeah, and that's really what it is. I mean, it's not even Georgetown, because they're pathetic as well. Mm-hmm. I mean, you just want to see Patrick Ewing coaching against the Red Raiders in our house. Right. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I feel the same exact way.
I mean, I've kind of had this one circled.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, it's the one that I've been the most excited about.
And if you're, over the age of 40 plus maybe, and you remember Patrick Ewing playing for Georgetown, and just how his Georgetown teams kind of changed how college basketball was played, and to some degree the physical nature of it, really more than anything else, and just intimidation and domination, and how his Georgetown teams played.
Or you grew up in Houston as a Rockets fan and had to face him and the Knicks in the NBA Finals, and Sports Illustrated almost didn't want to do a championship for the Rockets because they were expecting the Knicks to win it, and the Rockets took care of business in Game 7.
Right.
I got a little pill to swallow with that man as well. Okay. I would wish him nothing but the best in general, but
It's kind of whiny.
he can go suck an egg this week.
Okay.
Kind of whiny.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lady Raiders will be in action on Thursday. They'll take on Alabama State. They come off a couple of wins in Vegas. That Vegas tournament's getting some really bad publicity for how things transpired. The ladies won over Mercer.
As they should.
On Saturday. Yeah, I mean, they first of all, playing in a ballroom is not uncommon. I mean, that's been done before in Vegas by men's and women's teams, and certainly in the Bahamas, that's taken place. But this particular case, man, there was a 50-minute delay when an Auburn player got hurt, and the reason for that is there was no EMT on site. So apparently the player is okay. She's been hospitalized, but no further report of her. But the report was that she was able to move her arms and legs. So when you say that, that you kind of understand the gravity of the situation.
Oh, sure.
You know, and apparently there were no bleachers in this particular ballroom, just folding chairs.
Man, the pictures that you told me that heading into it that you didn't think it was like any kind of bleachers. It was just they were going to set up some chairs.
Yeah.
And it looked like there was a good 15, 20 of them set up. I mean, is that what the Lady Raiders were expecting when they signed up for this?
I don't know.
Because there's some talk that, they were promised, a different look and a different feel and all that.
Yeah. I haven't talked with anybody about that since
that'd be interesting to find out, because I think that was the case for some of the schools. They were showing one picture, this is what it's going to look like, and then it was nothing like that. I mean, because let's be honest, it's not as if you went there to face top-level competition. You played Middle Tennessee and Mercer. You could host those teams, and save yourself a ton of money than from traveling up there to play.
Right. Yeah. So
I wonder what they were promised and clearly what wasn't delivered to them.
Yeah, they battled back to beat Middle Tennessee on Friday, winning 72-67, and then they defeated Mercer on Saturday night. That game was supposed to tip, I think at 10, and it didn't tip, I don't believe, until about 11:30.
Yeah, 11:27, I believe.
Okay, is what time that game finally tipped, and the major reason for the delay was what happened with regard to the Auburn player. So,
and speaking of her, she tweeted out, when was this? That next day. Thank you, Auburn family. I'm doing better and can't wait to come home.
Okay.
So
good for her.
Good for
absolutely
her.
Good for her.
Yeah, absolutely. So, at any rate, so they got a couple of wins, and they'll play Alabama State on Thursday. And Jamie, your favorite team in the history of the whole wide world, Incarnate Word on Sunday.
Exciting.
So there you go. All right, let's go back to football. The Red Raiders defeat Oklahoma 51-48. Here's Coach Joey McGuire on bouncing back from the bad start in which they were down at one point 24-6.
Man, it was a crazy start because we popped that kickoff return. Jordan Brown had a really good return, and we had a reverse pass called, and OU played it perfectly. We couldn't even get it out, and so that first drive with them getting the ball, I think that first touchdown, whenever we were able to get on the board, and just kind of settle down, that was a big turning point of the game. I felt like the guys were going to settle down a little bit. I said on the headset, it kind of felt a little bit like Baylor from the standpoint of in that game and in this game. Felt like there were guys that were trying to do too much just because, you talk about it, but whenever it's senior night, a lot of times the seniors are very emotional, but then the young guys want to play so hard for them. That I think there was some guys that were trying to do too much, and we're settled down once we got in the end zone.
That's Coach Joey McGuire. So you had that, and man, there were folks leaving after that second touch there, that third touchdown when they went up 24-6. when you and didn't really blame them. You know, you're kind of like, okay, this kind of feels like it's going to be a really, really bad night. But then I got to thinking,
but it wasn't a mass exodus. It wasn't.
No, it
like
wasn't. It wasn't.
Because we've seen that before.
Yeah,
but there wasn't a whole lot of mass to exit either. I mean,
I don't know that I could have been prouder of the fans on Saturday, though.
Yeah, I agree. I thought there was more than I expected, and I thought percentage-wise, from beginning to end, we had a higher percentage stay than we had all season long. Yeah, I didn't notice people exiting at 24-6.
Well, I mean, we had some leaving around us that at 24-6. But I do agree with you. I mean, there was a point in time where it felt like the crowd grew a little bit. So I don't know if some students came back in and went, "Oh, we're coming back," and decided to join the party. That's part of what it looked like. But I mean, there were some folks that left. But then at the end of the day, there were a lot of people still left, and that was great.
You're listening to the Morning Drive podcast from Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3, recapping the night that was in the world of sports.
A little bit later on tonight, we'll have the Astros and the Diamondbacks. That'll be at 8. And then the Rangers playing at Seattle tonight.
And also bringing some humor to your day.
Was it pretty big?
Yeah. I mean,
was it impressive?
Yeah.
Was it fascinating?
I thought it was fascinating. It kind of smelled, but I mean.
Hear the show live weekday mornings at 6 on Double T 97.3 or on the Double T 97.3 mobile app. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is presented by Bizarre Solutions. Call them today for a free cybersecurity audit.
Now, you've had a couple days to think and ponder. What is inside your brain today?
Well, that can't be good. A couple days to think. Doesn't always work out so well for me, Chuck. All right, my question for you guys today is, now that the regular season is over, I want you to tell me your favorite play from the 2022 regular season.
My favorite play.
Fumble recovery versus Texas in overtime. I know it's not what you're necessarily wanting. You're probably thinking of an offensive play, but that was not only did we just turn them over at home, but that almost secured the win right there. Because you still had to get a point, but that was the gotcha moment for the Texas game.
Man, I am.
I'll go next if you want me to.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll see. Jeff is more of a positive person than I am.
Okay.
I can't say that moment because I was still worried that something bad was going to happen. Okay? I'll be a prisoner of the moment. I mean, my favorite play, my favorite moment was, you kicked the ball through the uprights against Oklahoma on Saturday, and to sit back and go, holy cow, that was a great finish to the season, the way this team came back in this game. Just beat a team that we don't get to beat very often. And, wow, you went 7-5. And I know it's kind of sad that it wasn't lost on me over the weekend to think about us and Oklahoma State having the same record and how different we feel about it, right? Because Oklahoma State has been such a productive program over the last few years, and we've been a struggling program. That 7-5 feels like, man, we just hit the lottery. And for them, they're 7-5. They're like, man, this program has hit a lull. It just feels completely different. But 7-5 feels great to me. Beating Texas and Oklahoma, all the above. It just felt like that last kick was like, man, we did this. We beat OU, which is great, and then we also, we got to 7-5 this year, which most people did not think we would get. Many thought we weren't going to get to 6-6.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty impressive. So to me, it was the kick against Oklahoma to win that game.
Okay. I'm not going to disagree with you on being a prisoner of the moment. For me, just kind of being in the stands with my wife and enjoying that, but I would also say the West Virginia game, because our grandson was with us and son-in-law was with us for that game. I enjoyed that game. I know you're looking for a specific play, and
Yes.
really kind of bad about being able to just immediately go back to a play. I might even say the kick to win against Houston, because I felt like that game was a turning point for me.
You ran it in to win the game against Houston.
Okay, then they won 33-30 in 2 overtimes.
Donovan Smith ran it in.
Okay, never mind. See, I told you I was bad at.
That would be like the most exciting play to win a game compared to the 2 games that you won with field goals. Remember?
Yeah.
Remember, your boy wanted the ball first, and he kicked the field goal, and Donovan Smith ran it in for 6, and we didn't kick the extra point.
We didn't kick the extra point, right? Okay.
Yeah, that's why it's only a 33-30 game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like I said, I would tell you I love the Donovan Smith catch in the end zone on Saturday. I thought that was pretty cool. He scored one running and got one passing, or receiving.
Yeah, man, his first touchdown. What a move he made in the backfield. Man.
Right.
That was impressive.
Right.
He looked dead to rights, and just a little jab fake, looked like a basketball player there. A little jab fake, like he was going left, and a little shimmy shake and off to the right, and man, he was in the end zone.
I'm trying to think if there was a long pass play that just this season that just really jumped out at me.
Cleveland had one.
Yeah.
But you didn't get any points out of it.
You didn't get any points out of it, right?
Yeah, he had more than one.
He had Jerand Bradley had a catch for 44 yards in the ball game on Saturday. I'll go with you on the kick on Saturday.
I didn't think this one was going to be that difficult.
Well, it's just only because sometimes I'm trying to kind of go through each game and go, okay, is there what stood out? What stood out to me where I just really felt like that was just a defining moment?
It feels like the 3 answers have to be: you beat Texas, so it could have been one of 2 from the Texas game, right? The fumble recovery or the kick. All right. The Houston win, because that was exciting. Remember, you were down in that game.
Yeah.
And you win on a walk-off, so to speak, on the touchdown run from Donovan. And then something in the OU game. And there weren't like these massive offensive plays, it felt like, that did it, right?
Yeah.
Donovan had a long run in the Houston game that was really key, but it wasn't a long touchdown run. It feels like those are the easiest answers.
Yeah. Yeah. If you ask me, my best moment would just be like from Saturday. My wife and I got a great picture in front of the Double T scoreboard.
Of course you did.
Well, we went over there before the game. I said we got to go get a good picture, and then also seeing just how excited the young phenom was to see Patrick Mahomes in person, because he never got to see him play. Got to see him in person. I don't think he did. He might have, but anyway, but he didn't realize what he was seeing when he saw him. It's different now.
I don't think anybody did.
But I mean, it's different now for him at 9 versus him
Except
at
the Chiefs, baby.
Maybe 4 or 5. But just seeing him, how excited he was to see Patrick Mahomes there, even though he didn't play, he didn't see him throw a pass, but just to see him in the stadium, just to see how excited he was. I mean and to see how excited he's become about football and watching his teams play and all that kind of stuff. That's it for me. More than
Chuck's favorite play is a player who has no eligibility throwing a pass during practice.
No, he didn't.
It's always the hoopla, not the game for Heinz.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just it's part of who I am. I enjoyed watching him get really, really excited about seeing Patrick Mahomes, and I just thought that was really, really cool. And the fireworks that night were really good as well.
Big plays and even bigger laughs.
If they get 7 out of those 2 things, game over. You're not winning. You're not winning that game at all.
This is the Morning Drive podcast.
Basketball players who don't wear the
shoes,
the shoes that match the uniform.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Match the color scheme of the team they play for.
From Double T 97.3.
Thank you for being with us. We'll have the Cowboys Hour at 6 tonight on Double T 97.3. That follows The Adventures of Tech Talk with Aaron Dickens and Mike Gustafson. That'll be from 3 until 6. today here on Double T 97.3. Haven't visited with either of those guys since the ball game, so I'll be curious as to their thoughts on what they saw on Saturday night and how they view things. All right, so
AD did make fun of Chuck and I, and then eventually Gus for enjoying a hot chocolate on Friday, though.
Yeah.
He made fun of you for drinking hot chocolate?
We had a hot chocolate at the Overton during Tech Talk. I started it off. I wanted something hot, and I just felt like a cup of hot chocolate. And there was a little bit of a scoff. And then I said to Jeff, "Would you like one?" And
I didn't want one until I saw one.
Until
and then
he
said,
saw
well, yes.
mine that had hot chocolate and whipped cream and a little bit of a swirl of little chocolate on top of the whipped cream. And then Gus looked at it and he decided he wanted one as well. So we shared hot chocolate. Not we each had our own. We didn't share it. We just shared the enjoyment of hot chocolate. Mm-hmm. And
can you think of a better day than Friday to have a hot chocolate?
Seemed normal to me. I'm not a huge hot chocolate guy, but I mean, I'll drink it every once in a while. But I didn't know that that was scoff worthy. I am amazed, however, at like the details that the important details that we can forget about sporting events mm-hmm. that we cover here on the show, and yet we know exactly what was on top of the hot chocolate.
Right.
Well, in fairness, the hot chocolate was Friday.
We also know, I mean, humble brag, I did it first, okay? And then others followed me, humble brag. You know,
no, it wasn't bragging.
I would not have gotten a hot chocolate had I not seen Chuck.
Yeah, I didn't bring it up. He brought it up.
You brought up that, well, I did it first.
Well, I mean, because I did. I mean, it's just the fact. I mean, and they kind of laughed at me, and then all of a sudden they decided they wanted some too. And I don't know if it was made with milk or not. Okay, I'm going to assume. I'm going to assume yes,
but it was very tasty.
It was very tasty.
Yeah, I think I agree with you guys. I think Friday seemed like a good day for some hot chocolate.
You know,
I mean, was it AD wearing flip flops?
I can't remember. He had shorts on.
I try not to look at other men's feet if I can at all.
Did he have shorts on Friday?
Jeff.
Did he have shorts on?
I don't pay that much attention to what other men are wearing.
I can't remember.
Now, the blonde walking by, I can tell you what she was wearing.
Okay. There you go. I don't recall her, so there you go. How about that for me? Okay, so Tyler Shough after the ball game. Bear in mind, he started 4 games this year, and Baron Morton started 4, and Donovan Smith started 4. He was asked about kind of the comeback for him and all those kinds of things, and how he performed, and basically what it meant maybe to quiet his skeptics. Okay. This is from the AJ. I think Don Williams asked this question. I had left the press conference by this point in time to go to the post-game show at the Overton. Here's what Shough said. I didn't really care at all because I knew they were going to be proved wrong anyway. People on staff, too. A lot of people in this building, down the hall, didn't believe in me either. So, the Adventures of Tech Talk with Aaron Dickens and Mike Gustafson, that'll be from... screw them. Because I know what we're going to do, and I believe in my teammates. The people on staff, too, a lot of people in this building down the hall didn't believe in me either. So, screw them, because I know what we're going to do, and I believe in my teammates. I mean, I could get if he wants to take a shot at the fans. He goes on to say this, especially how the fans and a lot of the media didn't really matter. Just because I knew I was going to get my opportunity, especially the way we were playing, I was going to have a chance. Whatever. What's next? I guess the thing that surprised me the most about that quote was the shot at the people in the building.
Yeah, and how about especially the way we were playing, I knew we were going to get a chance. Like saying we were playing poorly, I knew they needed me. I knew I was going to get my chance.
Yeah. That's
a direct shot at the other quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Whether it's Baron Morton or Donovan Smith. Maybe more so at Morton than Smith. I don't know.
Him saying to the critics as far as fans and media, him, saying screw him, I have no issue with whatsoever. None whatsoever. I probably would have a similar attitude if I was an athlete, a high-level athlete who was being criticized. People in the building, I don't know who he's referring to there. I don't know what he means by that, but that doesn't seem like the best thing to do, and I surely don't think it was the best thing to say. Especially the way we were playing, I knew I was going to get my chance. Like, we were playing poorly. I knew they needed me.
Yeah.
Okay, that's, to me, don't be criticizing Barron or Donovan and then acting like we have a tight quarterback room.
Right.
Okay?
That's the first thing that went in my mind after you started talking about, like, so do we have a tight quarterback room, or do we have some?
There's a fine line, right, between cocky and confident and too much and not enough, and you need an athlete to be super confident and believe in himself and all the above. I think we want everybody to be confident in who they are and what they can do and their skill set and all that. You also want them to think they're not bigger than the rest of the team. And there's a fine line there. There's definitely a fine line there, and I would tell you that I feel like on more than one occasion, Tyler Shough, not just in these comments, has definitely towed that line. Has definitely towed the line. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay? And again, you want a guy who's confident. You want a guy who believes in himself. You can be that without crossing that line and being critical of others.
I mean, it's a relative softball question that he was asked, but I mean, I guess he
used it as his chance. Clearly, the young man has a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
And you know what? I don't have a problem with it. Okay, I don't have a problem with it. But I mean, you can look at again. Just Donovan Smith, 4 starts, verse number 25 Houston, at number 16 NC State, verse number 22 Texas, at number 25 Kansas State. Okay, what did I say all 4 times? Number something. Okay. All right. Now let's move to Tyler Shough. Murray State. Okay. Kansas, Iowa State, Oklahoma. Look at the Big 12 standings. Oklahoma finishes 7th, Kansas 8th, Iowa State 10th. Don't tell me there's not a difference.
Yeah.
Don't tell me it doesn't factor in. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Tyler Shough hasn't been good. He has. Okay? But to act like it's apples to apples, it's just not legit. Okay? And Baron Morton in the middle there, you know what Baron was dealing with, starting against on the road at Oklahoma State, which is a completely different Oklahoma State team than we're seeing now.
Right.
Okay, he also started on the road at TCU in a game where it looked like if he stays in the game, you have a shot. We don't know if you're going to win or not. Okay, West Virginia blew him out of the water. Probably the most complete football game he played of the season, right? And Baron was terrific. Baylor, he was bad, no question. I mean, freshman was bad. No way to get around that. Okay. But so are the other 2 quarterbacks who came into the game too, by the way.
Sure.
They also threw picks in that game. Okay? Don't act like it's apples to apples when you compare what Tyler Shough did compared to what Donovan Smith did compared to what Baron Morton did. Sorry, it's different.
Yeah.
You can't. But that being said, Tyler has done a great job these last 3 weeks. There's no doubt. He did a good job. Okay? And so I'm not saying he's done poorly.
His coach was highly complimentary of him, too. And I don't know if Tyler had walked into the room yet when Coach McGuire said what he said about how he had really done a good job in the game and had gotten him out of some plays and checked him into some plays, and that's exactly why he was named the quarterback when he was. But
my guess is that definitely is factoring in, and I think Tyler does do a good job of that.
Yeah. Anyway, I was just surprised at the comment towards the people in the building more than anything else. And I'm in agreement with Jamie on the quarterbacks and the situations and kind of taking the unveiled shot at his teammates. It seemed a bit unnecessary.
You've been listening to the Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3. For more from Lubbock Sports Station, go to doublet973.com.